The cafe was nearly empty that afternoon. Outside, the rain had been falling since dawn, pooling in the cracks of the street. Through the window, Amelia watched the gray shapes of umbrellas moving like slow flowers, opening and closing. Her own table was tucked into the corner, far from the door, where she could see without being seen. It was her birthday. Not that anyone knew. The cake on her plate was a modest slice of lemon tart, its surface glazed and faintly glistening under the light. No candles, no wishes, just her, the rain, and the hum of the espresso machine. Ava, the barista, had been working there for years. She'd seen Amelia come in almost every other day, always with a book or sketch pad, always quiet. Today, she noticed the date on the loyalty card Amelia handed over. "Birthday, girl?" Ava asked, gently, sliding back her change. Amelia hesitated, then gave the smallest nod. Ava returned with a cup of chamomile tea, no charge, and placed it beside the cake. "On the house," she said softly. "Birthdays deserve something warm, even in the rain." Amelia murmured a thank you, though her voice was barely above the clink of ceramic cups. The doorbell chimed. A man entered, shaking off his coat. The scent of wet wool and fresh rain followed him inside. He ordered a black coffee and scanned the room, choosing a table next to hers. They didn't speak, but when Amelia glanced up, their eyes met for a second. His gaze was steady but not prying, like someone who understood what it meant to sit alone. The next day, he was there again, and the next. For the first week, they shared nothing more than a polite nod. Then, one windy afternoon, Amelia's umbrella snapped backwards under a sudden gust. She left it propped near the wall in the cafe, half embarrassed at its twisted spokes. When she got up to leave, it was gone. In its place, leaning against her chair, was a navy umbrella, sturdy, clean, dry. She looked around, confused. The man at the next table was just standing to leave, sliding his coat on. He didn't say a word. That night, Amelia stood by her apartment window, holding the umbrella. It had been years since anyone gave her something without expecting an explanation or a return. Days turned into weeks. They began leaving the cafe at the same time, walking side by side under the same umbrella. Sometimes they talked about small things, weather, coffee, books. Sometimes they walked in silence, the rhythm of their footsteps filling the space between them. She learned his name was Noah. He worked at a printing shop a few blocks away. He liked the sound of rain on windows, disliked strong cologne, and read poetry he never admitted to enjoying out loud. Amelia didn't tell him much. Not about the accident that took her parents 2 years ago. Not about the friends who slowly stopped calling when her grief didn't get better. Not about the apartment that felt too big for one person. But somehow, he didn't need to hear it to understand. One Saturday, Ava convinced Amelia to join the cafe's art therapy evening. The long wooden tables were covered with jars of brushes, paper, and mismatched paints. Amelia sat at the far end, sketching crooked lines. She felt awkward, as if everyone could see she didn't belong. Then Noah appeared, settling into the seat across from her with a jar of water and a palette of blue and gold. He began painting loose, shapeless streaks, letting the colors run into each other. "Sometimes," he said, dipping his brush again, "you don't need the picture to make sense. You just need the colors to be honest." Something in her loosened at that. Spring crept in quietly. The rain thinned. But Noah still waited for her after coffee. Some days they walked through the park, stopping to watch street musicians or to share a bag of roasted chestnuts. Other days they lingered in the cafe until the last customers left. One morning, Amelia found the umbrella returned to her table, neatly folded with a small paper tag. Happy birthday, again. Inside the folds was a slim book of poems. On the title page, he'd written in careful handwriting, "Beauty isn't symmetry, it's sincerity." She read those words over and over until they seemed to settle somewhere deep inside her. By summer, Amelia realized her visits to the cafe were no longer about avoiding loneliness. She was looking forward to the tea, the hum of voices, the warm presence beside her. One golden evening, after Ava had closed the cafe to the public, she left the lights on for them. Noah reached into his bag and pulled out a small wooden frame. Inside was a pencil sketch of a crooked teacup, her sketch from art night. Beneath it, he'd written, "Perfect because it's yours." The ache in her chest shifted, no longer sharp, no longer heavy. She met his gaze and smiled, without holding back. The rain had stopped whispering outside. Inside, something had begun to sing.
We invite you to join Midnight Stories. If this story strikes a chord with you, makes you smile, or stirs up strong emotions in you, each story is meant to uplift, heal, and remind you of the beauty that comes from human connection. Share this story with someone who believes in kindness and second chances by clicking the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell. Keep your heart open till we cross paths again, because you never know when someone might ask, "Can I join you here?"